Keep double checking your armature, because as you work with it, it ends up twisting a little bit, and that's just to be expected. Note that when I am adding the masking tape, I'm actually shaping it as I tape. I squeeze it, I pull it tightly so that it isn't just covering the paper, but it's actually helping to form the shape underneath of it. Okay, so I just continued to build up all of the different areas, folding paper sometimes in a shape, kind of a wide shape, sometimes in a small rectangle, just depending on the form that needed to be built up. I built up the head and the muscles in the jaw and on top of the nose. And I built up the area of the rib cage a little bit more, as well as the hips and the muscles that kind of control the legs and the pelvis. And then I added some thinner wrapping of paper and tape to the rest of the tail, and I'll go ahead and finish covering the tail with masking tape. I'm going to wait on the feet till the end, and actually, I don't actually need to have an armature for the actual feet. I've kind of curved the little dragon to give it a little bit more of a lifelike feel, and also kind of turned the head. I will be adding the wings a little bit later so that they will also be included. And so now we're almost ready to start actually working with the paper mache. Okay, so this main armature is almost done with the first layer, and I just want to point out a few things. Even small strips like this are too large for detailed, very complex forms, like the head, like the legs. So what you really want to do is make even smaller strips for these areas. And this enables you to shape them without as much frustration and wrinkling of paper. And don't feel like you have to use the full length. You can always apply that to another area. Pay attention to the little corners that kind of stick out, and the wrinkles like this. You'll want to either cover those up on your first layer, which is actually like 2 to 3 layers of the strips of paper mache, but it's the first layer that we're working on before we dry it in the oven. So you'll either want to work on these little wrinkles and cover them up now, or on the next layer. If I notice them on this, at this point, I'll go ahead and try to smooth them out somewhat. It will probably require fixing it or adding to it on the second layer as well. In fact, that's really what I focus on in the second layer, rather than covering up the entire form a second time, because I've already put 2 to 3 layers on, and in some places probably a little bit more than that. I work on smoothing these out a little bit at this stage. Any holes like this one right here, I don't know if you can see, it's not a true hole in the object, but it is a space where the paper hasn't completely covered. So, let's see. And any little ridges you want to kind of smooth out as best as you can. You will be covering this some more, so it's not the end of the world if you don't see everything and fix all of the areas that you need to. Okay, so this is pretty much ready to dry in the oven. Okay, so I have dried both the main body form as well as the wings, and as the wings were drying, I kind of shaped them so that they have a very slight curve to them, and now they are, you know, very firm and won't change out of this curved shape. After looking at the armature for a little while, I decided that I actually want to build up the muscle in the shoulder and chest, a rib cage area, and then also make the waist area of the dragon a little bit thicker. So even though I have actually, you know, the first layer of paper mache on here, I'm going to go ahead and add more more forming with strips of paper and folded up paper and some more masking tape, and then I will continue by doing this layer of paper mache again, and possibly another layer as well. That's one advantage of working kind of slowly and thinking about how your form is developing at each stage, is that paper mache is actually a very easy medium to continue to adapt and revise your sculpture, which is an important thing to do as you are working as an artist, because you can always improve and you can always notice things, ways to make it, to make your work kind of more in line with what your vision is. So I'm not going to show all of those steps. I just want to let you know what I'm doing when all of a sudden the armature is a lot, or not a lot, but somewhat thicker.